Hello and welcome to our July 2018 version of A Diving Guide to Creatures. As always, we have our dive partner, Dan LaRue, joining us underwater. He is always looking out for creatures that we might have missed, including lobsters and other creatures that can typically be found in the air as we go. He's always finding unique stuff, getting them out. Here we have the Virginia oyster. The Virginia oyster is a common species along the East Coast and increasingly common in recent years. They are very good at filter feeding. In fact, a single oyster can filter feed up to 50 gallons of water a day, cleaning it completely. Now, Virginia oysters eat plankton. This is knotted wrack, one of the most common species of seaweed along the East Coast. They are very well known because they often get torn off rocks and wash up on shore. They're sometimes called bladder wrack as well because of the tiny bladders that they use to help keep them upright on rocks so they can maximize their sunlight potential and reach. This species is very common in rocky zones of the seashore. So, because they like to attach to rocks, because it's a sturdy hold fast for them. The dog Welk is a carnivorous species of mollusk. Just like its cousin, the northern moon snail, the dog Welk has a tiny tongue called a radula that it uses to drill into shells of creatures like blue mussels. The Greenseer urchin is an echinoderm, which means spiny-skinned animal. The green sea urchin is very spiny to protect itself from predators. The American eel is a long species of fish. They are a very primitive species of eel because they do not have teeth like their cousins the morays, which developed later in the evolutionary line of eels. American eel is covered in a dense layer of slime that actually helps them slip through crevices and also to deter predators. The green crab is one of the most common species of crab along the East Coast. Although they are not native to the area, they are brought over in ballast water by ships from Europe, where they are originally native to. July is around the start of green crab mating season, as you can see here. And these crabs are actually carry their eggs on the underside of their carapace, and they are not usually very social during most of the year. As you can see here, one of our cameras broke, so we switched over for a bit. Sea lettuce is a species of seaweed, as you can see, attached here to a green crab, and it uses it to move around and spread. The green crab is actually not usually known for carrying seaweed. Decorator crabs technically do. Rainbow smelt are our type of fish that we see all the time. These little bait fish are often fallen predator to by larger fish such as Atlantic pollock and mackerel. They are very small, as you can tell, but they can grow quite large and long. These ones here are probably about a year or two old. The common sea star is a species of echinoderm, just like the green sea urchin. They have spiny skin, except the difference is they are carnivores. The bay scallop is a species of mollusk, and they swim fast backwards by clapping their shell closed with powerful muscles. The American lobster is one of our most iconic species seen. They are very popular in Maine, where all this footage was shot this month, and they are a very popular seafood as well. The only way to legally catch lobsters, though, to sell or eat as seafood is by trap. Do not attempt to catch lobsters by hand, as this is very dangerous. Atlantic pollock are another species of fish. We came across a large school one day while diving. Here's a little video of that. They usually don't get too close in the shore, except when they're young, like seen here. Atlantic pollock eat small crustaceans and mollusks when they're about this age, like periwinkles. Here you can see a cunner swimming around too. Cunners are carnivorous fish as well. The tide pool sculpin is a small fish that is often found along the shoreline. They camouflage really well with the rocks, and this is one of their primary defense mechanisms. They're also covered with small tiny spines. The Atlantic rock crab is one of the native species of crab in the area. The other species is the Jonah crab, which is larger and a little different color. The opossum shrimp, they're very common, but not often seen because they're very small. As you can see, there's a green crab, and those little things swimming around, those are opossum shrimps. They're very common, but not very often noticed. This is eelgrass, a species that is commonly found along the east coast in certain areas. Eelgrass is very populous in one of the areas we go, as you can see here. The majority of the ecosystem is based off eelgrass, and that's why we get a lot of eels, because eels like eelgrass to hide in. And eelgrass can also be food for smaller herbivores like periwinkles. The striped bass is a very unique species of fish, not often seen while we're diving, because they typically hang out offshore. You can see some glimpses of striped bass here in the footage as we are swimming off Long Sands Beach in York, Maine. These species can be quite large, and they typically live on bottoms like Long Sands that have rocky and sandy substrates, as this provides ample opportunity for prey. The fat-clawed hermit crab is a unique species. They usually come around a couple times a year. As you can see here, one claw is larger than the other, and this one has inhabited a moon snail. They do not grow their own shells. They usually borrow them from creatures like the common periwinkle when young, and grow as they grow older. The common periwinkle is one of the most common species along the east coast. They are found basically everywhere you go, rocky and sandy substrates. They are herbivores, unlike their cousins the dog whelks and moon snails. These eat algae off the rocks and have a radula that is more developed for scraping. The Johnson's ornate worm is a new species for Rainvet Dam Productions this year. Thank you for joining us this month.
It's only magic. Isn't it amazing when you know? Every second that you see is 24 connected pieces. Thank you for coming, thank you for staying.